Now then, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel, Stephen Howson. A little bit of time for some transfer talk. Onana's on the headline. What's going on in with Onana? Is it Onana's in pyjamas for United? Are we going to be having that all summer long? Is that what the script is? Because we was linked with both Onanas, weren't we? And I would be tempted to... I like the other Onana, actually. I wouldn't mind a bit of that in midfield. Bit of steel like that. But 2 Onanas is mental, innit? Even though the songs... Oh, it'd be shit, let's be honest. It'd be proper shit. Anyway, what's going on? Sam Pilger says United are increasingly confident even. They can now quickly secure the signing of Andre Onana. The player wants to make the move and Inter are willing to sell for a good price. Deal could be confirmed soon. Melissa Reddy, I didn't know we was fucking giving her any sort of credence, but all right, Melissa Reddy saying compromise being worked on between United and Inter for Onana. He wants to move. Sources suggest all parties will be ideally like a resolution before July the 13th, which is like next week. Feeling a fee of around 45 million inclusive of add-ons could seal it. Inter's total valuation for Onana is £51 million, and their public stance is he will remain at the club unless that figure is met. United's opening bid was £38.5 million, which has obviously been rejected, but sources close to the player indicate there's a desire from all parties to reach a resolution before Onana is due to report for Inter's pre-season on July 13th. Onana has made clear his intentions to move and reunite with his former manager. Optimism around 40 million plus will get the deal over the line. It is what it is. I think I mentioned this a while ago, and it's the only sort of comparison I can really bring in. I think Onana reminds me of Bartes, in which that there is a genuine top-class keeper and there's genuine top-class crackers in there as well. And there's the sort of top-class crackers and clanger. Look, I think every top keeper has got a clanger in them. I remember Peter Schmeichel having clangers, like that big starfish thing that he used to go and jump out at people doing sometimes. Sometimes they just passed it underneath him. Like, sometimes he just missed. Sometimes he got caught out when he used to do that last minute running up the pitch thing to go and try and get the winner. Like, top keepers do have like spectacular clangers in them. And I think Onana's got that. We can see that he's a little bit of a level up on the actual goalkeeping side of things, and De Gea, and it's a slight improvement on that front. But the distribution, the way he contributes with the ball at his feet, and the confidence, which is something that you can't really put a stat on, the confidence you would have in him having the ball at his feet is vast, I think. I think he's someone that will really improve that style. And because Ten Hag knows him, because Ten Hag knows what he's going to get, I think that's a real positive move for United. And I agree. I think Bartes is the closest comparison that we'll see. Yes, we've had former Ajax goalkeepers in the past before in Edwin van der Sar. If he comes in and is anywhere near as good as van der Sar was, then boy, do we have a goalkeeper. But I genuinely think he's probably going to be more in the Bartes mould, not just in terms of that he's a little bit crackers, but also in terms of like, he's not quite at the very, very top of the game. Schmeichel was at the very top of the game. Van der Sar was at the very top of the game. I see Onana being like the level just below that. Now, that still means that he can be a good player for us. He's just not that genuine. You know, at times, Peter Schmeichel would have held the title of the best keeper in the world while he was at Manchester United. And I think Van der Sar also had that over a couple of the seasons he was at Manchester United. I don't think Bartes did, and I don't think Onana will. But I still think there can be, you know, very, very, very good goalkeepers. Do you agree on that? Everyone, like, what's everyone's thoughts on that sort of rating and ranking of that sort of stuff? Notch says, good afternoon. Afternoon. Hell of a morning we've had this morning. It is one of those. Aaron says, do I know Joel's takeover sauce? No, I fucking don't. I've been absolutely pied by him, by Rio, and they can all fuck off. They're off the Christmas card list because I don't have a clue what is going on at all. None. No idea. Janapa says we still need to keep De Gea. I don't think that's going to happen. Andrew says, rare you see Edison make a brilliant save. In fairness, he don't really get a lot of pressure, does he? Oish says, I think Onana is one of the best in the world right now, and the comparison with Bartes is a tad unfair. I think your understanding and rating of Bartes is probably incorrect then. Because make no mistake, Bartes, World Cup winning goalkeeper, he was a very, very good goalkeeper. He just wasn't the best goalkeeper in the world. He was still very good. We paid a hell of a lot of money for Bartes. And I don't know what the reasons was that we decided to move on from him in full. I think he was a pretty good goalkeeper still. Mrs. Singh says you can't claim Van der Sar was on top of the world when we signed him from Fulham. Why not? I think he reached that level at Manchester United. Why wouldn't he not be the same one? I mean, this is one that went from Ajax, where he was European champion, to Juventus, where I think he was largely successful. Had a little bit of a weird one where he came through Fulham, and then at Manchester United, where he was again a European champion late on in his career. Yeah, I think you cannot say that at one point Van der Sar was the best goalkeeper in the world, and probably while he was with us as well. Matt says, hopefully he isn't called into action a lot. You don't see Ederson having to make a bunch of saves. Jordan says, Van der Sar was stone cold world class for United. Totally agree. Richard says, ask Rio about his thoughts on Edwin and you will find he was the best. Joe says, Barthez was ahead of his time. Onana completely changes our possession play. Alma says, Barthez made out to be a calamity keeper. Turned out to be a calamity keeper, made too many mistakes. I don't think I think the media is caricaturing what Barthez genuinely was. Barthez was a good goalkeeper. He was just, we hadn't seen goalkeepers that was that comfortable playing with the feet. I'll ask you this. How many Cruyff turns have you seen goalkeepers make in the Premier League, right? I reckon Barthez is probably 70% of those Cruyff turns that you've seen goalkeepers make. That was his jam. Right now, Barthez would be in the consideration for best goalkeeper in the world if he was playing right now, because the skill set that he had was so valuable. He was ahead of his time. Again, Fergie was ahead of his time in trying to find a goalkeeper that did that. Van der Sar was that good with it as well, but we never really start to see it. Do you know what I mean? Callum, why did Rio lie on 5 about the announcement? If you think Rio lies, then I don't like. He didn't lie. He clearly just got fucking incorrect, possibly incorrect at the time, information. Kez says, if Onana is number 1, who's number 2 and 3? Kovar reminds me of a Courtois. I think Kovar looks like he's going to be going back out on loan to Sparta, which is not a bad idea, I don't think. In terms of who's our 2 and 3? Don't know. Tom Heaton, you would assume, is one of those. Who is the other one? I do not know. Lewis says, Steve, I think the club made a mistake giving Mount the number 7. So I think a lot of people, as it's Twitter, right? Oh, and by the way, I'm on Threads. We're getting stuck in that. Twitter is fucking done. We're leaving that shit right behind. But as usual, on Twitter, you put an opinion out and everyone just takes it to the nth degree rather than seeing what you were trying to say. Was I on board the Massimo Taibbi train? No, I was a little bit open-minded about him. But yeah, he was shit, wasn't he? I would say, what did I put yesterday? I quote tweeted United's announcement that you got the number 7 saying, no pressure, kid, right? And then people have a go at me going, it's just a number, right? That's generally how I feel about the squad numbers. However, if you do not think that there is an extra pressure wearing the number 7 at Manchester United, you're just not paying attention. Because there is. You know, just look at what Valencia said about it. He's like, nah, this shirt's too heavy. I want my other number. Like, there's obviously something going on with it. Obviously something going on with it. And if you look at the way United market the number 7, there is also something within that. And yeah, like a lot of you guys in the comments, I thought it was absolutely geared up, especially with some of the stuff the United app was putting out, unless they just got duff info. I thought Garnacho was getting geared up to get the 7. But at the bottom line, I don't really give a fuck. I couldn't really give a fuck who has what number, to be honest. I'm over it. Jerin says, if we don't sign a striker, do you think we will finish top 4? I think we will struggle, to be honest. And I think that's around about the time to just have a little bit of an update about Rasmus Hojlund. So, Rasmus Hojlund, apparently, an Italian outlet says United are serious about Rasmus Hojlund and they submitted the first offer to Atlanta, a precise request from Ten Hag. That's interesting. That's interesting. Sleeping Bear says George Best warmed, I think he means wore, the number 11. George Best wore all sorts of shirts. I think there's a couple of his very best goals, if you go and have a look at George Best highlights. He's wearing the number 8. You know, he wore the number 7, he wore the 11, he wore the 8, he wore the 10. Don't know if I've ever seen him wearing the 9, but he wore loads of numbers. Someone's actually broke it down in one of the George Best books, which number he wore and how often. Kevin says, do I reckon Kane will go to Bayern? Yeah. Rarely do you see it become public knowledge Bayern are in for a player and they do not get that player. Does that mean that they get every player they go for? No, I just think they're better at managing their leaks than anybody else. So it appears like they get all of theirs. Notch says, don't think Robbo always wore 7. No, I probably didn't. But that's the number you associate with a minute. Sudip says, do I think they will let Greenwood back? Yeah. I mean, I had a bit of a discussion about this morning. Myself, Ronaldo, and one of the best journalists in the game. We had a talk about this morning. And unlike some content creators that are happy to be in contempt of court discussing what has happened, I don't want to do that. And I think I've made my feelings relatively clear. I think domestic abuse is a very bizarre crime. And I don't think it's necessarily entirely one-sided. I believe the relationship Mason Greenwood in is probably just a fucking horrible, toxic relationship full of drama that comes from both sides. And I think that's possibly one of the reasons why any sort of statement may have been rescinded. But there was a statement made at one point, and allegations made at one point, which were supported by evidence. That evidence was later rescinded. Now, was that done because of coercion? Well, coercion can come in many forms. And unfortunately, domestic abuse is one of the things where convictions are very rare because of families being involved, children being involved, shame, honour, all sorts of things being involved in it. And I think it's a very, very sensitive topic. And it's probably one of the reasons why there's I believe somewhere in the region of a 1 and 2% conviction rate of domestic abuse allegations. Does that mean that 90% of domestic abuse allegations are lies or wrong? No. I just believe it's one of those that's extremely hard to get a conviction because of the emotions that are involved in this. And yes, they are raising, potentially or about to start raising a family together. Does that mean what we heard didn't happen? No. Does that mean that what we heard is the sole truth of that relationship? No. And does it mean that people don't deserve second chances? No. I think that there's validity in all sorts of arguments. I don't think that they've got back together, therefore fuck all happened is valid at all. And I thought something smelt funky from the moment that we saw the statement from the victim's father. And when the victim's father stated that they've known him since he was in the academy, instead of saying, look, if you interview me and you've done the same things to my daughter, my statement would be, I hope the police find him before I do, because I'll be going to jail for a very long time. And then when the father's statement wasn't that, and it was like, he's a lovely boy, you're like, And you can suspect why people may be saying these sorts of things. I don't know. I think it's an absolute fucking mess. And I think United are right and wrong in whatever decision that they choose to make. I don't think United can win in this. I think they can only lose. And it's the severity of how much they lose with whichever decision that they make. And I think that's all there is to say on it. Do I want to see him back as a footballer? Well, I would say to you this. Would it have got this far if it was a lesser player? And if the answer is no, then they should be treated the same. And I think that's it. And I think it's an absolute mess. I don't think it's black and white. I think there are levels and shades of grey. United believe they owe a duty of care to him. That's fine. Where's the duty of care for all of the players that they release? That maybe haven't been in trouble with the police. That maybe haven't been accused of domestic abuse and other things. I think there is no good to be had. I think it's a horrendous situation, and I don't know how the club come out of this in a positive sense. And that's it. And I don't agree with what do the women think about it? With all due respect, I couldn't give a fuck what the women think about it. I don't think they need to be. I think asking what the women's team think about it is fucking extremely patronising. Everyone, male, female, whatever their fucking persuasion is, has got a right to their feelings voiced on this as an employee or a sponsor of the club, and I don't think their gender makes any fucking difference whatsoever. And I think what do the little ladies think about it feels patronising as fuck to me. So I think the club's probably going to make a decision that annoys fans, no matter what that decision is. There seems to be a lot of fans that are just, fuck it, they're back together, crack on. And there's other fans that are going, I know what I heard, and I wouldn't be comfortable with him playing with us again. And I don't think anybody is right or wrong with their decisions. I think your gut instinct is your gut instinct. Your feeling is your feeling. No one can tell you how you feel about something is right or wrong. And that's it. So, there you go. And I think on that note, I'm going to wrap it up. But I am interested in hearing you guys' thoughts. I'm sure there's a shitloads of sales about to happen. Joe, is Rio embarrassed about the club's sales statement? I doubt it. Listen, I don't want to blow Rio's shit up here, but Rio gets spoken to by a lot of fucking extremely influential people on all sides of everything. Rio wouldn't have gone strong unless he'd been told something. You got to remember. Listen, I've been burnt by this before. I had an agent of it was Ander Herrera's agent. Ander Herrera at the time was on holiday with Moreno, and it was like Moreno was going to be signing for United this weekend. I was doing a video of full-time Devils, repeated that. Next morning we signed Lukaku. Sometimes, and what had happened is the player had been led along. The player had been told to be signing for United this weekend, and then he was the second choice to Lukaku. Lukaku got selected, and he got fucked off. He even dyed his hair red. So you can get told something which is 100% factual. You can parrot that, and it can be incorrect. It happens. Anyways, Morata. Yeah, what did I say? Moreno. There you go. As always, cheers for tuning in. Make sure to like the video. Loads more content planned for you in the build-up to the tour, which I'm going on, and I'm hoping to take the boy wonder, Ronaldo, with me as well. So cheers for tuning in. As always, make sure to subscribe if you're not, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't... Wait a minute before I go. Just a quick reminder. Shreven Paddock are playing Droylsden at Droylsden Stadium on Saturday at 3 o'clock. It's going to be £3 entry, and I would like as many Paddock fans, owners, members to get their asses down there. This is a massive game. I think there's going to be over 1,000 people come and watch that game. And we'd love you to be there. Make a big fucking riot. I think it's going to be an excellent day. Welcome Droylsden back to football. If you're in Manchester, you can get the tram. The tram stops about 50 metres from the entrance to the ground. It's going to be a right good fucking day, and I'd love you all to be there. See you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.